Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from ICM. This is a model in 1/35 scale. It copies Marder 1 on FCM 36 base, so it's not difficult to guess which kit was used as a base for this release. It's FCM 36 French tank, and now we have a different version. It's a World War II German anti-tank self-propelled gun in 1/35 scale, and of course we have a final version of this kit, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. So we are going to open it together and check what is actually supplied inside this nice box. And first of all, I have to note the box art because it looks really cool, and I like what ICM does in their recent releases. All of their kits look really nice, and it's a pleasure to look at them. And of course, box size is standard for 1/35 scale kits from ICM. Here you can see comparison with my hand. Next, on the side here, we have some information about this kit. Again, we have, let's say, writing, which is a bit difficult to distinguish on the background, so just give me a second to take a look. So there are 245 parts, and length of the finished model will be 186 millimeters. Next, on the opposite side here, you can see 3 marking options which are included into this kit, so they are quite colorful, and I really doubt that you won't be able to choose out of these 3. And now I'm going to open this box just like any recent release from ICM. As you can see, it is sealed with a tape, so I have to cut through it, and I will remind you that this is actually the recent, let's say, novelty from ICM. So if you have these stickers removed or tapered with, it means that somebody tried to open the box, and it also means that you won't be able to open the box in the shop in order to examine the sprues, and that's why I recommend to watch this video review from till the end, because we will show all the parts inside. And of course, do not forget that you can support us with a small donation, because we have a special donate or support DSV button on our website. It's done via PayPal, and it's safe and quick, and of course you will help us get some other interesting kits. So box structure is standard for ICM. It's a color printed top lid and really sturdy white cardboard box, which should protect everything inside. And now just give me a second to open it. Here is what we have inside. This is, I guess they will be released as a separate product. So these are new paints from ICM, and from what I can see, they will have a number 3003. That's why box was surprisingly heavy. I was wondering why it is that, let's say, noticeable weight-wise. And here you can see all the frames. They're packed into the same plastic bag, so we are going to open them and take a look at what is included here. So just give me a second. Okay, so I'll just sit closer. First, we are going to start with 2 plastic frames which are dedicated to drivetrain parts, and I'm going to show you only one because they carry the same set of parts. So here it is. Let's zoom in a bit, and now you can see what is included here. So we have drivetrain bogies, we also have drive sprockets, and some external features for the main hull. We also have some Pioneer tools that are placed here, and now they are molded together with brackets. And here I suggest we zoom in as much as we can so that you can check all these parts closer. Here they are, and molding quality looks fine. Note attachment points on the drive sprocket. They might be a bit, let's say, tricky to separate, but I think it's doable. And here we continue with some parts for drivetrain bogies. Here we continue with Pioneer tools. Obviously, if there will be some, let's say, aftermarket PE, of course it will tackle all these clamps on the Pioneer tools because it's worth upgrading, but in my opinion they're also fine just as they are. So I will try to show them closer just like this. Maybe camera will focus. Yeah, now you should be able to see that these clamps look more or less fine. With some, let's say, careful weathering and painting, you will be able to get a really nice result. So just invest some time and it would look as good as some metal parts from other companies. And now just give me a second to swipe the dust. Okay, next we continue with two more identical plastic frames. These ones are new because they're designed for today's version, so I will leave only one. And you can notice that we have spare tracks. We also have the armor shield, so just give me a second to zoom in and you will understand what I'm talking about. Maybe we can open the camera a bit. So we also have the ordnance for this, let's say, gun. And I think these are spare tracks, but we will have to check the assembly manual. Frankly speaking, I'm not sure where it will go, but we have it included, so it's really cool. And molding quality, you can notice it with your own eyes. It looks really great. So there is nothing to complain about. Next, we continue with another plastic sprue. So here it is. This one is dedicated to hull parts. So as you remember, we have quite noticeable superstructure on this vehicle, so that's why we have these panels as a separate parts. We also have some parts for main gun, so that's why I suggest we zoom in again so that you can check all this stuff closer. So here we start from one end, and as I said, all these parts will be used for the main gun. Next, we continue with these glacis plate parts, and also here you can see floor for the fighting compartment, and it has some texture on it. Just give me a second. Yeah, it does have some texture, so if camera will be kind enough to focus, yeah, now you should be able to see what we have here and what I'm talking about. Next, we continue with machine gun and these special racks for the ordnance storage. So as you remember, these ammo rounds, they were molded separately, so you will be able to install them, let's say, one by one, and of course you don't have to install them all, and of course it will make it easier to paint them, but it will be a bit more tedious to work with such design. And note that muzzle brake should be assembled out of two hulls. That's not cool, we can say it straight, so be careful while joining these parts, or maybe completely replace it with a metal part for even better appearance. And by the way, if you flip over this part here inside, you can see some guiding elements, so they will be useful in order to install all internal components in this kit. Next, we continue with parts for the lower hull section. So here are these panels. Again, we can zoom in a bit. So you can see that these are large panels which should be combined together, and again, attachment points are thin enough in order to carefully install all these parts. We also have some exhaust parts here. So from what I can see, again, we have some guiding elements here and there. Frankly speaking, I'm not sure why this thing is molded just like that, so we will have to check the assembly manual. But next we continue with side panels for another side panel, and also some panels for the engine compartment. And if we flip it over here inside, you can see some guiding elements which will be also handy during the assembly process. But all in all, I really like what we get here, so you don't have to worry about any possible quality issues. Next, we continue with something what I'm not happy to see, let's say. This is a vinyl tracks set, and even though they look okay, they should be fine for out-of-the-box build, from what I can see here. Just give me a second. Still, it would be cool to see plastic tracks, which will give even more realistic appearance to this vehicle. But we have what we have, and you will have to work with such inclusion unless you're eager to spend some extra money in order to replace them. And here you can check them from the opposite side. So they're okay, as I said before, but be sure to spend some time into painting and weathering in order to hide that defect that these are vinyl parts. Next, we continue with another hull section. As you can see, that's a top hull section. We also have some armor plates for the top superstructure. And note that this main hatch is molded shut, so you won't be able to open it. Well, even the frontal section hatches, they are molded shut, which is quite surprising. But from the other side, we don't have anything inside, so maybe that's why it was decided to design it like this. And here you can see these parts from the opposite side. So it is like that. Next, we have decals, which are hidden in the assembly manual, so they look quite fine. Here you can see the small decal sheet, and they should be easy to apply. As far as I remember, ICM decals are quite nice to work with, so there shouldn't be any problem. Next we continue with assembly manual, and you will be blinded a bit, so let's zoom out a bit, close the lenses. Yeah, now it should be better. So it's a color printed brochure with a short history note on the cover. We also have some technical specifications and paints chart. Next, we flip over this page and we continue with the parts map. Of course, red color means that these parts will not be used in the current version of the vehicle. So as you can see, there are a few of them, and still I would rather suggest to be careful while checking which part you have to use here and there. Assembly process starts with the main hull. As you can see, you will have to combine all these separate panels together. Next, we continue with drivetrain bogies and also this drive sprocket, and of course it is repeated from the opposite side. Next, we have to install the towing hooks and also side armor plates. Now I'm trying to separate the pages. So here we continue with tracks, and of course you have to join them together with help of super glue or maybe by heating them. It's up to you which version of the connection you choose. Next, we continue with the top hull section. As you remember, it was provided as a single piece part. It should be installed on the lower sub-assembly. And we continue with the engine bay top cover. We also have separate hinges for these hatches on the glacis plate. We also have exhausts which will have to be installed. Well, first they should be assembled together with a heat shield, and then you have to install them on the tank. Here we join them together, so be sure to hide these interconnections between them. We install various Pioneer tools. Assembly continues with the main gun. So as you can see, the, let's say, main portion of the barrel is molded as a single piece part, but do not forget that muzzle brake should be assembled out of two hulls. But at least this main gun, it will be designed and fully detailed inside, so it won't be just an empty fighting compartment. And that's really good because, as you remember, this fighting compartment, it is open on this vehicle. It will be visible on the finished model, so that's why it is important also to work on the internal features of this area. By the way, here you can see the muzzle brake assembly. So here we have rear armor shield in place. We install some Pioneer tools on it. Then we continue with ordnance, spare tracks, and next is the machine gun, and that's pretty much all. So 62 steps in total. Here we have marking options. So this one is from France. This one is from... It's not written where it is from, but it's the same year. And one more vehicle is also from 1943, so it comes in this sand color. So, all in all, we get a really interesting release in 1/35 scale. It should be already available and you can get it on Modelimex's website. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such kit. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!